moving on to part 2 now of the Blue Zones Science of Living Longer National Geographic magazine special. So now moving on to some of the dietary highlights of Sardinia in Italy, another island. A 1930 survey has revealed that in a month, people living in the Sardinian hills consumed only 3 servings of meat in a month. So that's less than 1 serving a week. More than 65% of the calories residents consumed came from carbohydrates, believe it or not. Particularly as carbohydrates have a bad press in the West. But get this, the carbohydrates they consume are in the form of whole grain, whole wheat, bread, pasta, potatoes and beans. And they eat these ingredients in as whole a state as possible, minimally processed, with lots of olive oil. So this certainly contradicts the argument that too many carbs are bad for us. Again, I think it's the type of carbs we consume, so obviously refined carbs, a lot of them, is not good for us, particularly when they're consumed without fruit and vegetables, and when they're coated in saturated fats or they're highly processed, and obviously it's not going to be very good for us. But it's not the case that carbohydrates in and of themselves are bad for us. In actual fact, carbohydrates should actually form the bulk of a diet. We should be getting most of our calories from carbohydrates. Their diet is also, interestingly enough, and perhaps counterintuitively, low in protein. And most of the protein consumed comes from plants, not animal products. They eat proportionally more fat than protein. But, a big but, this fat mainly comes from goat's milk and olive oil, not butter and saturates. Not, so good, healthy fats that are good for the heart and immune system. Interestingly, unlike other Mediterranean diets, the Highlanders don't eat fish, as it's too long to get to the sea. So again, fish is not essential to a longevity diet. Many Mediterranean diets do contain a lot of fish, but you can have a Mediterranean healthy diet without fish and it can still be very healthy. I was very interested in the case study diet of one centenarian family. Here goes. It's quite interesting, really, because for breakfast they have an egg fried in lard. So all that exercise must work off the calories. So again, it's not the case, let's go and eat an egg for breakfast with lard every day and be super healthy, because you're probably not going to be super healthy, particularly if you then spend a day slouched in front of a computer. This is in the whole context of their lives. So yes, they might start the day with an egg fried in lard, but they're going to be working off all of those calories through shepherding or other hard labour they're doing. A big part of their lifestyle is exercise. We don't get enough exercise in the West, so again, it's a whole context. Sourdough bread to soak up the yolk, a glass of goat's milk, and 2 cups of coffee. I was pleased to read that coffee is meant to be very good for you, as coffee, again, has often got a bad press, but in many of these blue zone areas, they do consume a lot of coffee and seem to do pretty well on it. For lunch, they have minestrone soup and bread. It's homemade soup. A lot of vegetables going to get soup, by the way. You'll be getting an excess of 5 a day. An excess. And for dinner, they have leftover soup, garden vegetables, very fresh seasonal vegetables, bread, and hard pecorino cheese, which is made from sheep's milk. Arguably, goat's milk and sheep's milk is more nutritious, and I'm now wanting to try and get a taste for goat's milk. I mean, it's certainly an acquired taste. I've tried it before. Didn't really particularly like it, but now I'm thinking maybe I should try and drink more of it and try and get a taste for it. When I was a child, I read about goat's milk in Heidi stories. I don't know if you've ever read Heidi stories, Heidi, for stories for kids, Heidi, raised up on the mountains, she drank goat's milk. I really wanted to drink goat's milk because Heidi drank her goat's milk, but when I tried it, I didn't particularly like it. So, but I'm thinking maybe, I could acquire a taste for it, so I'd quite like to drink it again, and we'll see. Do you drink goat's milk? Let me know if you do. Now, interestingly, both flatbread and sourdough do not cause blood sugar spikes like other breads sometimes do, and so they're a lot healthier. Now moving on to the Seventh-day Adventists who live in Loma Linda, California. You don't often think of the Americans as being particularly healthy. Many Americans are too overweight. That's often where the obesity epidemic kind of arose in America. But there is a community in America, the Seventh-day Adventists, who live in Loma Linda, California, who are the exception to that rule and are very, very healthy. This is a religious community. Now, the Adventists don't smoke, and their diet consists of grains, fruits, nuts, and veg. This is a biblical diet, as they use Genesis as a dietary guide. They drink 6 glasses of water a day, which helps lower blood pressure, Their diet contains a lot of avocado, which contains 30% more potassium as a blood pressure lowering mineral than bananas. This is good news for me. I mean, I love avocados. I haven't had many lately, but certainly in the summer I was eating them like no man's business. So, I have no problem eating them when the opportunity arises. The diet includes plenty of nuts. That's the mainstay of most Mediterranean diets, in fact. They consume a handful of at least 5 times a week, and they enjoy slow-cooked oatmeal. And this is great as I love both porridge and nuts. Finally, moving on to the Costa Rican diet. Their diet includes rice and red or black beans, which they often serve alongside eggs for breakfast. Again, their diet is high in carbohydrates. This seems to be a theme, high in carbohydrates and low in protein. And the protein that they do consume comes from plants. This time, it's in the form of rice, maize, corn tortillas, and beans. Arguably, black beans contain more antioxidants that fight free radicals than other types of bean, so I will try and eat black beans when I can. Now moving on to dietary habits. A great Adventist saying is that we should eat, I quote, breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. In the Blue Zones, people eat a huge breakfast, a medium-size late lunch, and a light early dinner. Most food is consumed before noon. So they might have, for example, 2 breakfasts, breakfast, so they're eating a lot in the morning, and a light dinner. For the Icarians, the Sardinians, lunch is the main meal of the day. All the communities front-load calories early in the day, which means the calories then get burned off in their exercise and daily activities. Conversely, Westerners often skip breakfast, which is probably the worst thing you could do health-wise, but many people do that, and then they eat a big, stodgy evening meal with lots of sugary snacks in between, which is probably part of the reason why we have this problem with food and things like that. The magazine includes a list of foods to try and eat more of. I ticked the ones I already eat a lot of. These are avocados, bananas, lemons. As I say, I mainly eat avocados in the summer, but at other times of the year I have no problem eating a lot of bananas. I do consume lemons a lot, or citrus fruits a lot. Yes, I do have a lot of tomatoes. I do eat a fair amount of chickpeas, brown rice. Nearly all my bread is whole grain. Very seldom do I consume white bread. I have oatmeal practically every day, or whole oats really, but same sort of thing. I eat nuts a lot. I do eat quite a lot of feta cheese. I eat a lot of olive oil. I have garlic practically every day. Herbs and turmeric. Now, for longevity foods I would like to eat more of includes fennel. I'm still trying to get a taste for fennel. I know it's a really healthy food, so I want to try and eat more of it. Shiitake mushrooms. I love mushrooms, but shiitake mushrooms are particularly good for you. So now when I do buy mushrooms, I'm trying hard to get the shiitake ones. Sweet potatoes, squash, papayas, barley, tofu, soya milk, salmon. I do consume a fair amount of salmon now and again, but it's not something but again, you don't have to have a lot of fish for a longevity diet, but again, it is healthy because it can be free, so I'll try and consume more of that. And possibly a little bit of honey. Now, regarding beans, a 5-country study by the World Health Organization has shown that eating beans daily reduced the risk of dying in any year by 8%. I don't think they were referring to Heinz baked beans, no. Heinz baked beans are so high in sugar and salt, they're not referring to that. So I don't think you can only eat a lot of Heinz baked beans every day. They're referring to beans in their naked state, unprocessed. And that could also include lentils as well. I guess any pulse and chickpeas would come under that category. Another interesting fact, this time about sourdough, the bacteria digest the starch while making the bread wise, and this produces acid and sourness. The bacteria not only help build a healthy gut, they also reduce the sugar content of the bread. So eating sourdough or whole grain bread is particularly great, in terms of sugar control as opposed to refined bread. Now, finally, in terms of meal ideas, an interesting one would be to consume rice with beans for breakfast, because that got me thinking, why don't we have rice with beans for breakfast? Eat breakfast like a king, have your front load for calories. That would be healthy, so you're getting that healthy plant protein there, and you're getting whole grains in that brown rice. That would be very healthy. So I'm wondering if I should give that a try. Now, let me know if you enjoy eating any of the foods mentioned, and if not, if you might be interested in checking them out. I've very much enjoyed reading this magazine, and I hope you enjoyed this review of a magazine today. And as I say, do let me know if you try any of those foods that I've covered in the magazine. And next week, because I'll be speaking to you again next week, I'm hoping to do a recipe review, because I've been trying many recipes lately and I've been getting a little bit behind to doing my recipe reviews because other things keep on cropping up. So I will try my hardest to do a recipe review next week. So I hope you enjoyed watching today, and I very much hope you have a good week, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. So thank you for listening.